Okay, welcome to Faded Instruments. I am here today to show you our new distortion plugin, Spectral Disturbtion. And it is a multi-band Chebyshev polynomial-based distortion effect. And it's really interesting. This is our first effect. Everything so far from Faded Instruments has been instruments. So this is our first time building an effect. And yeah, what it does is it's a multi-band distortion. So it divides it up into 3 bands. We got kind of lows, mids, and highs. And then it uses something called Chebyshev polynomials to distort the signal. And it's a really interesting one because usually when you distort a signal, you create all these even harmonics, all these odd harmonics, or maybe everything. And what Chebyshevs allow you to do is really specify, just one specific harmonic that it can kind of play with. So I have this dinky little beat here. And I'm going to bring the mix in, and then I'm going to explain everything that it's doing. Okay. Volume. So what we're doing here is the audio signal's coming in. We've got an input level, an output level. So these are master inputs and outputs. Your audio signal first gets sent to this kind of multi-band divider. The lows go to this area, the mids go here, and the highs go here. These X's here are actually where you can kind of like change how the spectrum is divided. I didn't put numbers here. You really just have to listen to it and kind of decide what you want to do. But anything below this is the low frequencies. In between here is the mid frequencies. And up above it will be the highs. And the audio then gets routed here where it has a saturator and a level, and it's going through a Chebyshev shaper, each one of these separately. You can mute a band by clicking on the emoji. You have level control, drive, and the drive is actually happening before the Chebyshev shaping. So once we have that coming in through here, it gets sent to your XY pad. And this is where you're able to perform the Chebyshev polynomials. And so what it's supposed to do is they're kind of laid out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And what you can do is you can kind of move these emojis around to change the polynomials. And this changes the sound. I'm going to just mute these two and we'll just have the central one. And you can see there's pretty dramatic changes here. And so each of these bands has these polynomial distortions, these Chebyshev polynomial distortions. And you get really interesting sounds. Let's add a snare drum in here, or a clap or something. So anyways, that's pretty nice. Once it goes through here, you have an extra saturator at the end. This does everything together. And you, of course, have a mix knob. And then at the end, you have a high pass and a low pass filter. So where this gets really fun, of course, is just playing around until you find some nice sounds. But when we have 2 controls which are a little bit weirder, which are the slew and the boo. So Slew is actually a pretty traditional one for modular synthesizers. It's usually spelled S-L-E-W. And what this does is it basically kind of smears everything. So you move a knob and it takes a while for it to actually happen. All of the knobs except input and outputs get controlled by this Slew. So once I turn this up, you can see the only ones where you actually get visible feedback are these emojis. You can see it actually takes a little while for their little ghost to catch up to them. Slew can be really long. I'm going to mute these so you can really hear exactly what it's doing. So it's really cool because it allows you to make really big gestures. And for things that take time. So this becomes really powerful, especially for doing like drone music or gestural music or things like that. And then the one last interesting thing here is the boo. So at the moment, when you divide up the frequency bands, anything below the green goes into this green section, which goes to this polynomial shaper. Anything in the middle is to this one. Anything above this is to here, and this polynomial. The boo kind of mixes up all the wiring, and something from the low gets sent to one polynomial and a little bit to another, and so you start to get really intense stereo and more unpredictable sounds. So anyways, that's Spectral Disturbtion. Okay, I did forget one thing, which is that there is a preset browser built into Spectral Disturbtion. Of course, your DAW will have a bunch of presets that you can access in it. Sorry, the names are all wrong here. That will be fixed before this launches. But you actually have a little tiny yellow dot up here above the name, and that's your preset browser. It's divided into boops, shoops, and sloops. The names will be right by the time this launches, and it'll come with a bunch of presets. At the moment, this only works in the Windows version. Hopefully, by the time this launches, I'll figure out how to get this working in the Mac version as well. Okay, that's it. Enjoy Spectral Disturbtion.